Welcome back, everybody, to our weekly market update and AMA with our pro trader, Mr. JOMO. How you doing today?
Hey, CM, I'm doing great. Thank you very much. It's an excellent day to be alive, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, man. Bitcoin in the green. Life is amazing.
Exactly. And BNX pumping slowly, grinding up, so we're happy.
Yeah, man. BNX is good stuff.
Yes. All right, let's talk a little bit about the markets. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes, this is Bitcoin for our 4-hour chart.
Perfect. This is the Bitcoin for our chart. All right, so let's do a small update. What we're seeing here right now, we saw a small attempt of Bitcoin almost doing a lower low. However, we did a higher low eventually. And I want you, CM, to focus a little bit about what happened in that new lower low. I want you guys to see that little squeeze we had around the 19K, a bit of, yeah, around that squeeze over there. Exactly. Can you enlarge it a little bit, please? Excellent, excellent. So on the 4 hour, we can see that after we had a very sharp move downwards, by the way, that was a short I didn't take. You know why I didn't take that short, CM? I think we talked about it. I thought it's going to be very crowded, and even though it's going to move, it's not going to give a lot of percentages. So even though it made a move and someone could have made money for it, if you missed taking profits quite fast, you could have gotten nailed either without profits or minimal profits or just get out in a loss if you wouldn't be if you weren't on top of the trade. So I didn't take it. I know you did, and you did successfully because you're such a great trader. However, the little squeeze after that attempt of breakdown, that's where we longed. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a shelf. So when I look at this it's a very small pattern on the hourly. Yeah, exactly. I prefer to see something like this on the daily. If you see this on the daily, this is a very important V bottom with a right hand shelf. That's how Giller calls it. If you recall, recommended the book by Giller. Um, and on the 4 hour, the same. Once I saw this pattern, I just longed, and I'm long ever since on Bitcoin. And I added a huge position. And when we consolidated a bit afterwards, yes, around that consolidation, just below the 2020, a bit above. Yes, yeah, this is like a cap and handle type situation. So once we broke, I had a huge position added and very small risk of no more than 3% to it. And as you can see, we're still grinding upwards. So I'm still bullish on BTC short term, and I'm wanting it to build. I wanted to break the 25K again, and I wanted to break it dramatically. If we don't see a dramatic break, I'm still thinking we're going to maybe grind between the 25 and the 18, 19K. Maybe we can go sideways for months between exactly in this range. Maybe we can even have a bull trap or a bear trap every now and then, but this can go on for months. So what I want to be either bullish, or very bearish, I want a dramatic change of hands, be above 20K or below 18. That can be another situation. Right now, I'm looking more on the upside than on the downside. However, if we break downside, of course, we're going to short the hell out of it. Of course, once as Bitcoin is doing what it's doing right now, it's giving more leeway to altcoins. And as we saw past weeks, we have Luna, ANC, all that Luna ecosystem just banged. CM, you caught that. We talked about it last video. How happy are you with the results of it?
Oh, yeah, it was amazing, man. I actually, with the Lunacy trade, it was around 50% gains on my total Binance account. And I used the
Boom.
profits, yes, and I used the profit to buy, Bitcoin and our swing trade that we're doing now in
Yes.
BNX. Holy mama, man. I have huge positions, man. And it
I
feels
have a
amazing.
big position on BNX. I have a very big position on BNX as well. It's a very high probability trade. Whenever I see a very high probability trade, I just want to kill it. I just want to make sure I'm on top of it. But we don't always have such a high probability trade as BNX. So far for the update, what do you think about moving on for the questions, maybe?
Yeah, we have a question. Let's go to this chart. I wrote it here. We have two questions from the trading group. First one,
Excellent.
you can see the first one. How do you guys recommend to lock in profits? should you try to sell more of the position in the first few targets, as it is more probable to hit the first few targets?
Well, that is a great question. I don't know how about you, CM, but I think that is more subjective to a person. How risk averse are you? And as well, what's the market conditions? For instance, in a bear market conditions, many times, for example, throughout July and the majority of August, I took the majority of profits in the first 30% and maybe left some runners for later on. Maybe 20% a runner for more than 30%. However, lately we had some huge, great aggressive moves. Once I see aggressive moves happening, and they're not happening only on the Luna ecosystem. They happen in other coins as well. SNM, for example, is a coin that happened. SRBP is another coin that happened. So more and more coins are showing very strong impulses. So whenever I see that happens, I start to increase not to increase, but to maybe put more of an equal emphasis to each stop. I like to have 3 to 5 take profits, and that is how I work. And right now they're more or less evenly distributed. But throughout July and August, I went mainly to the 30%. Now I want more profits right now because I'm seeing the market is giving. How about you, CM?
Exactly, man. It's up to the general market. If the general market looks like it turning bullish, I have my trade alerts from the get-go will be like every 10 to 15% gains, okay? But if it was like 2-3 months ago, from the get-go, I will do 7% difference, 7-8% different take profits, so I'm gonna be out pretty much from the trade after 30-40% gains. And these days I'm going to be out of the trades pretty much 60-70, sometimes even 100% gains,
Amazing. Now that's a good thing that you showed this, because I have an even better explanation than the one I just explained, because a very important aspect of my take profit is multiple of my R's. All right. Now I know it's a concept not many of our listeners may know, but R's is the risk multiplies. For instance, if I go into a trade and I have a 5% risk, that means my stop loss is at 5%. I want to take profits as multiples of that risk. So usually I will start taking profits at 2R, then 3R, 4R, and so on and so forth. My average stop loss is around 7% target stop. So usually I will start taking profits at 14-15%, and then above 21, 22, and then to the 30s, and so on and so forth. So that's how I do multiples of my risk. And eventually what we want to be as traders, we want to know in our numbers, we want to be at least a 2-to-1 trader. What does that mean? That it means that I want to earn double my risk at the winning trades from the ones I have at the losing trades. So that's how I think about it. I know you know about that concept, CM, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So that's another way that how I calculate it and how I like to put my take profits. And as well, I compare them to Fibonacci levels, because I just like Fibonacci levels to help me to put take profits alongside with my R multiples. That's just a tactic. It doesn't mean anything besides me having nice areas that I think can be good take profit zones. That is it.
All right, let's go to the second question. If you have missed a trade and do not wish to FOMO in, how far from the breakout would you recommend entering?
That is a very tricky question, because I think that, first of all, it's a great question, right? Because someone is experiencing FOMO and he wants to know how to deal with it, right? And that's why I love it, because I experienced FOMO in the past. To this day, I experience FOMO, but I just know better how to handle it. I think for me in crypto, I will try to not buy above more than 5% above the pivot point, and I will try to do less. I will actually try to do no more than 3% above the pivot point that I wanted to get into. That's how I prefer to, but that means that you will lose some trades. For example, the Luna trade, not the Loon C, the Luna trade. When I got to the computer, it was already around 7 or 8% above the pivot point where I wanted to buy it. So that for me, that was extended, so I didn't buy it. And it went so fast that I every few seconds I was like, damn, why didn't I buy it? Damn, why didn't I buy it? But I didn't. and I thank my discipline not buying it, even though this was a great opportunity and a great buy extended. Usually 90% of the times you will buy extended will turn out to be losers. Therefore, this is a bad habit to buy more than 5% extended, so I don't do it. That is me, but that means that you will miss some good opportunity trades, and you need it needs to be according to your own personality. But me, 3 to 5% maximum above the pivot point. I don't want to buy more than that. What about you, CM?
All right. So just to summary your answer to this question. So let's say you bought the breakout of 20K Bitcoin. Yeah. So you put the stop at 19K. So that's around 5% stop loss. Okay. The 5% risk. That's pretty much your go-to stop loss position. Okay. Where you position your stops, and you want to position yourself. Obviously, you want to position them as tight as possible to minimize the downside risk. All right, guys.
I think he asked about how extended we want to buy it, not our risk.
Oh, right. My bad. Oh, so for example, if it broke out here, all right, and now it's up above the pivot point, all right, it's like 10% above the pivot point, and it want to enter here. So what you're saying is don't buy now.
Exactly. Though this is a new pivot point, so this is good. By the way, I'm very happy you showed the BTC chart. In BTC, if I don't buy the exact pivot point below 1% difference, I won't enter. So, you know, I need to maybe elaborate upon my answer, because considering shitcoins and alpha above 3%, usually sometimes I give 5% if they are really moving fast. But if we talk about very liquid names like BTC that don't move as fast, I try to not buy above 1% or above the pivot point, because I have buy orders and I'm on top of the market. I just don't want to pay up more than I need to on very liquid names like Bitcoin, but on unliquid names or that move faster, like Loon C, for example, I would pay no more than up to 5% if they are really aggressive. So it's a bit of a differentiation between how liquid and how aggressive something can be. I know it's a bit subjective, but that's how I handle it. And never ever above 5%. Never ever. Doesn't matter how strong it is.
So never more than 5% to FOMO in a trade, guys.
Never.
And really, always remember, there is always another bust coming, okay? There is always another trade coming. So even if you miss that entry, maybe the same coin will pivot higher and then consolidate, squeeze, and then you buy the breakout higher, or another different coin will start a move and you will not need that breakout now that you missed. You will have a different way to make money. There is always ways to make money. So it's now about time to start taking, you know, ourselves in the right hand and not FOMO, man, because FOMO is not good for the business.
Exactly. FOMOing leads to losses, which leads to bad psychology, which leads to even worse trading, which eventually leads to people capitulating and leaving trading forever. That happens again and again and again. So guard your emotional capital. Don't FOMO into trade no more than 5% at max. For very aggressive, be disciplined. And if you miss a trade, as CM said, the next bus is coming. Just look for the next bus. That is it. CM, how disappointing was the month of July, and then all of a sudden, you know, August came and boom, you just needed 2 trades and you're up 50% on your Binance account. Right? All of a sudden, swiftly, boom. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it comes very, very sudden, very fast.
Exactly. Came very fast, and you just needed that 2 trades. That's it. So, as we said, don't FOMO into anything. More trades are going to come.
All right, guys. Well, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the trading group for these amazing questions. If you have more questions, feel free to send it to me, and we're going to talk about them in the next episode. Jomo, you have anything else you want to add?
No, thank you very much. By the way, there's a CPI announcement today, so I hope we're going to see some good outcome out of it, and it can give more leeway to the market. So let's see what happens in an hour, and let's have a good day.
All right, guys, have a good day. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.